following show is a paid program.
Hey family, how you doing today? We have the best of the best in the building with us, but I wanted to tell you about a hot new show that's coming, that's already out. Good Morning with Misty B. Catch her at 9:30 a.m. Monday through Friday, but we have in our studio today Mr. Bryan Carroll, Ready to Love Star Season 3. Educational consultant, youth advocate, and we're going to talk to him a whole lot about manhood defined. Hey, my friend, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm so glad you got here.
I'm so glad to be here. It was a journey.
It was a journey, and it's always. I love you on that show, Ready to Love Season 3. Man, let's talk a little bit, first about all, how you got started and going up to that, how you even found out about that.
Well, actually, I was on, my cousin kept tagging me on Facebook when they seen they was coming to Houston. And I was like, man, I ain't even on no dating apps. I ain't about to go on no dating show. So I ignored it every time. Mm-hmm. And about the third or the fourth time, one of the casting agents is actually from back home in Baltimore, and she saw it. Mm. And she DM'd me, like she messaged me, asked me for some pictures and stuff like that, like the stuff for the show. And I was like, well, maybe it's a sign. I don't know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I sent the stuff to her. We started the conversation. I remember the first conversation we had about the show. I was in Chick-fil-A with my daughter, mm-hmm. and she was acting up, running around, but I was being really gentle and kind with her. And we were just, and she really was like, man, you seem like a pretty solid guy, and I like the way you're dealing with your daughter. I think you would be a really good fit for the show. Mm-hmm. So from there, everything just took off.
Wow. Mm. Did you imagine it looked like what it was, you being Bryan Carroll, who you were at the time, and now you being Bryan Carroll, who you are, Ready to Love Star Season 3? Is it different? Is it different than where you were?
It's definitely different. I mean, I could be back when the pandemic was like first going, like I could be in Walmart with my mask on at the Galleria with my mask on. People like, hey, Bryan, what's up? What's up, Bryan? I'm like, hey, what's going on? So everywhere I go, somebody sees me from the show. They talk. I'm friendly. We take pictures. They may ask me questions about the show and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
Did you expect that, or did you think that it would happen like that at the time?
As far as the show,
yeah. Being on it and things like that.
Yeah, being on the show. I mean, I had a blast out there. At one point, it became an emotional roller coaster. To be honest with you, when you watch the episodes, you kind of like, God, dang. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, really? But, you got to roll with the punches, take the good with the bad. And at the end of the day, what I've learned, the hardest lesson I had to learn is this. It's TV and it's entertainment. And the goal was, they wanted people to be entertained. Right. So they want to go through whatever lengths they could to make sure entertainment came out.
Wow. And looking at that, just going through the process and things like that, let's look at giving advice to single women as well as men.
Absolutely.
From that point that you were at, going through that experience and journey, what are some of the advice that you would give them?
I would say learn somebody's love language, learn their personality type. And this is what men got to realize. The way we speak, women don't hear that way. And the way women speak, we don't hear that way. So it takes a high level of humility and understanding and patience to be able to get to a point where you can be in an effective relationship that is being cultivated in the right way. We have so many different ideals. Everybody's on social media talking about their perspectives. A lot of time it's theory and not practice. I say this, prime example. I played college and a little pro ball and football. Running a slant route, you run 3 steps and you cut in. So in theory, that's what it is, right? But when you got somebody in front of you trying to take your head off, you can't run 3 steps and cut in. So all of this theory of how a relationship should go, this cookie cutter way and all this stuff, you throw all that out the window. You got to really look within yourself.
Right.
You got to do a lot of self-development. You got to be able to listen and really go back to the drawing board on a daily basis. So what I would say to anybody that's wanting to be in a relationship with serious companionship, you know, you got to grow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you got to walk in humility. You can't worry about what everybody else think. And you got to be okay with being a bigger person. You got to be patient. And it takes a lot to be patient. It's easy to get mad and go off. Or, people will be ready to cut somebody off so quick. You got to really be patient. You got to know yourself. I always say there's green, there's green flags, which are good things. There's red flags, which are bad things. Then there's those yellow things. It's not quite a non-negotiable like a red thing, but it's something yellow where you be like, maybe I can do this. Let's communicate, see how we can work through this barrier. But we got to establish those things,
The other thing, too, I think, in looking at it, you got two different people, right? Coming together in a relationship.
Absolutely.
They were raised a different way. They're coming from different families. They have their own things that they do, rituals that they may have, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
That they have. In looking at that, what advice would you give people, like you said, blending them together?
Well, a lot of times people say, 50 and 50 equals 100. No, 100 and 100. One thing I've learned from being a father, and God spoke this directly into my spirit, serving.
Yes.
I'm a better father because I want to serve my children. I'm ready to be a husband because I desire to serve my wife. You know what I'm saying? So when my idea about a relationship isn't what can I get out of it, or I'm reserving my emotions and my feelings to see if you all in. Nah, I'm gonna get to know the person and understand there's a difference between somebody being disrespectful and them not quite knowing me. But I owe it to them. I hate when people say, "You grown, you should know that." Well, common sense is relative.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody, some people grow up in environments, being educated. Some people grow in environments where it's okay to cuss people out and fight when you get mad. Some people grow up in environments where you talk about it. Were they raised on love or were they raised on trauma? You know what I'm saying? So you got to even then it's a struggle. You know what I'm saying? But I always say the change I want to see must first begin in me. So we have to develop individually to see how we can actually grow and mature to love. Like you can't just go out there and run people that are running 5-minute miles, they don't just go out there and do that the first day.
Right.
They build up to that point.
Right.
And you don't even just work your legs. You got to work every aspect, your breathing, your pace. Love is the same way. You have to understand how to operate, how to address situations. Love doesn't say you. Love saying, I appreciate when you. I suggest that we. You know what I'm saying? It's a way of an approach. Studying, like, this person could be very, I always say this, opposites don't attract, they can complement. So if I'm not the cleanest and you OCD, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is a humbling process for both of us, because I might get in and leave my shoes at the door where you want them neatly put in a certain area. So what it requires is me to be able to listen and consider how you feel. That's through my love and caring about how you feel, and that's actually making me better. But with you not getting snappy and annoyed all the time, that's helping you with your patience and your kindness and your approach. So now if we both do our part, we can meet in the middle. But if I'm being selfish, me, you being selfish, me, how I feel, now we can't never come to a common means. And that's where love and selfishness always gets disrupted, because I'm not esteeming your desire and your needs and your will over mine. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
So.
I like that a lot. And looking at manhood, not all males become men.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that there's something that comes with that. That title of manhood that we're talking about. Let's define that. Let's talk a little bit about that. I went to an event that you had. Man, it was so informational, it was very educational and inspiring to many of the people that were in there. Also, young men were in there. A lot of young men were in there. And I think they heard a lot of things that you were speaking of about manhood. And let's talk about that, because especially African-American men, we're fighting a battle now on a daily basis. And we have to tell our young men what's going on because of the fact that we're, in a lot of ways, we're in fear of them going out and traveling alone by themselves, and we have to sometimes talk to them and tell them how they're to carry themselves. So what we'll do that right after the break. We'll be right back on the Cam Hill Show.
To the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
Move up at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $319 a month. The new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $399 a month. Both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase either and enjoy 1.9% APR for 60 months plus bonus cash. Gulf Freeway, just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. Ron Carter Cadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy, because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Have you heard about Hero Go TV offering free TV?
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey family, we are back with Mr. Bryan Carroll. Happy Father's Day on Sunday. Let's talk about fatherhood, too. You are one of the greatest fathers. I've seen you with your daughter and stuff. Let's talk about that. At a young age, right? You're young, and you have a child. Doesn't come with a book, doesn't come with any directions. Two daughters.
Yeah.
Look, no directions or anything, right?
Yeah.
This is unconditional love. Wow.
And that's what drove me to start Manhood Defined.
Right.
So I'm becoming a dad. I'm terrified. Now, I'm the children's book author.
Yes.
I'm the guy that work with the kids. Everybody knows me for working with kids. But the first time I got to keep my oldest daughter overnight, I went to the Galleria Mall, and I stood there for like 5 hours because I was scared to go home. And I didn't have, when women have a baby, sometimes, you got the mother,
right?
You got the grandmother,
Yes.
great-grand, they got the generations. But where's the part for men? Man, I don't really know. They accept the role. I don't know how to change diapers. They accept the role. That ain't really my thing. I ain't want to accept that. I want to be all things that I could be.
Right.
To my child. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have nobody to lean on.
Right.
And it was demoralizing, man. It was painful. And I didn't know how to, surf through those emotions. Even the fact when I was being alienated from my daughter and wouldn't see her for 5 or 6 months at a time, trying to work through the court systems and everything. I wanted an outlet. I cried a lot of tears. I sat in silence. I suffered in silence a lot. So I wanted an outlet because I realized that whenever I spoke up about my story or whenever I showed videos of me being nurturing and loving my daughter, the feedback from men was like, man, I respect other women, man. I wish my dad was there for me. And I said, there's a bigger purpose behind this. And then what God started to really reveal to me is, the key to you becoming a better father is, if it is to be, it's up to me. The change I want to see must first begin in me. So now I have to grow in my patience, in my love, in my wisdom. It's okay for men to be nurturing.
Right.
Men don't think that you can be nurturing.
We're taught that. We're taught not to have feelings and emotions. We're taught not to cry. We're taught not to, have any kind of they always say in some kind of way that either we're breaking down or we're not, you know what I'm saying? Sensitive.
I hate that. And
sensitive is another thing.
It's okay to cry when you leave a football game or basketball game. That pales in comparison to you breaking your daughter's heart.
Right.
Or your wife.
Right.
Or your son. So I can go cry over a basketball game, but I can't cry when I see my grandfather laying in the casket. So after that experience,
can't hug.
It started hitting me when I went to my grandfather's funeral and I kept stepping out to cry. And I said, man, forget that. Big weight lifted off my shoulder. Then when I had a baby, my oldest daughter, I became a crybaby. I would just look at her sleep. She would lay, and just looking in her eyes, because she has my same exact eyes. I broke down.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I don't care about what nobody think no more. And I really want to build a coalition of men who are willing to get therapy and talk through these issues. Because, okay, we can talk to it. We can establish, okay, you got an anger problem. Or you're not able to express your emotions that well. But who gives us the tools? That's what therapy does. Therapy gives you the tools to be able to sift through those things.
Right.
Because emotions are good. They're an indicator. They should be a passenger and not the driver of your car. They should be an indicator to allow you to know, how you need to move, what are your triggers. But if we don't heal, then we create another generation of unhealed.
Absolutely.
So now we got these kids with these abandonment issues. I didn't realize I had abandonment issues to 30 plus. I was over 30 years old, and I figured out, man, I got abandonment issues because of situations that I dealt with my father. And my mama loved me to death, but there's so much she could do. There's only so much she could do, So I had to start doing those work, so I did not repeat that cycle. So I'm extremely nurturing, loving. I give my daughter so many kisses, then my little one, I'm always kissing, hugging her. I mean, I just love it. It brings joy to my heart. And it's teaching me so much. Yeah, you tired, but get up. Make sure that bottle's made. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you tired. They both get their baths. You got to get your shower. Wash your hands. Yes, parenting is a constant mirror.
Yes.
And a lot of times people get mad at what their kids doing. They're not understanding that, you want straight A's, but you haven't created a culture in your house. You want a disciplined and a extremely respectful child, but you real catty. You real disrespectful. Look at the way you talk to her daddy or his daddy. Look at the way you talk to your husband. Look at the way you talk to your friend. Look at the way you talk to them. So you don't want them, So it's just like we have to grow. Growth looks like us growing,
Right.
not just them. It's an internal, not an external thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Educational consultant and youth advocate. How did we get here?
Man, that's crazy. I always loved to work with kids. Even in college, me and my roommate.
And this is from football.
Yeah. So me and my roommate in college did a mentoring program with our church, right? We had 2 kids that we mentored, 2 twins. And they didn't really need us as bad. They brought their friend around. So he came over, and then all of a sudden he came back every day. Then we found out his home situation. His mom was on drugs, basically homeless. He started living with us. We had to leave practice early to go to give him a ride to court. And the judge, because it was a small town, big football school, gave us custody of him. I promise you. She said, you have temporary custody. He's going to go live with you. So he lived with us for months.
Wait.
Yeah.
You all are in school.
We in college.
You in college, and you get custody of someone else.
A 15-year-old.
A 15-year-old.
The judge granted us temporary custody because he couldn't go back to the trailer that looked like a little haunted house.
Right.
And he was already always with us. So the judge was like, oh, yeah, we give you temporary custody. So he stayed with us for a while.
How did that make you feel when they said we grant you custody?
Well, I mean, we didn't understand
what that meant.
Sometimes you look at things in hindsight like, wow.
You're right.
But at this point, it's like he was already over our house all the time.
Right.
We were doing, we were.
You didn't even know what custody was. Okay,
yeah,
he just
immature college guys growing up, fussing over who gonna do the dishes.
Right.
But what we did was we created some kind of stability for him.
Yeah.
And we were male figures that were in school, playing ball, getting in our word, showing a good example of something to do. So that's how it really started. And I always kept being led to that. So when I first moved to Houston, I was a free agent, trying to get signed, but I ain't had no money. Like I used to call my sister like, hey, can you put like $12 in my account so I can go get something to eat?
Right.
And my mom kept saying, Bryan, you need to go teach. Ma, I don't want to teach. I don't want to teach. I hated school. I didn't do well in school. I did horrible in school, basically. What I'm saying? I went to college because I knew I wasn't about to stay home and I could play ball.
Right.
And I started subbing. Then I started building a relationship. It'd be the baddest kid in the class. And man, that school work out with me. Still keep in touch with them kids to this day, 10 plus years ago. And I said, man, I may be on to something.
Right.
So I needed some insurance because I had a hernia injury. So I was missing these pro workouts because I said, let me get insurance. The only way I can get there, I need to get certified.
Right.
So I started my journey taking that test. I learned my learning style, got serious about my education aspect, then started mentoring the kids through teaching. And every year, it was a new kid, and God would always send kids in my path that needed what I also need and needed,
Right.
So it was like, it was a mirror. And the only way they would stay afloat is if I did what I was supposed to do. So whether it was taking kids to workouts, getting them into college, mentoring them, taking them to church, whatever it was, and every time they see me with their little siblings, don't want to follow behind them. They see me being nurturing, they would start doing it.
Right.
It was just so much modeling in that. And that's really how the mentoring started. And now I'm learning that, hey, you can get grants and you can actually mentor people and make doing it and have the resources to really help people.
Yeah, you have a nonprofit, Cure Inc.
Yes.
Cure Inc. Let's talk about that. How did the name come about, and how did you get started?
I was trying to figure out what I was going to call it. I had no idea. And I was
what you needed to cure, huh?
I was asking God. He said, cure, a community under reconstruction through education. Education is the great equalizer, and we have to stop marginalizing education and just reading, writing, and arithmetic. Education is every aspect of our life. We need to be educated in different things to grow. So I started that, and it's been a process, just growing, just learning, working on building a team, and really just giving back. Because that's what my heart's desire is really to do in the community.
Giving Tuesday, it's a global thing. I saw. I saw you doing Giving Tuesday.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Oh, that was exciting. I had just found out about it. Shout out to Miss Sharon, Mama Sharon, who keeps me in line.
Right.
She told me about Giving Tuesday, and we did it, and we raised over $2,000. And I was like, all these years I've been going broke, spending my own money. I used to buy my students Christmas gifts every year out my own pocket. But I saw that you know, people really rock with me because they see I have a good heart and I really
Yeah.
care about the kids in the community. So they were willing to give. It was 20, whether it was 200, whether it was 5. You know, shout out to nephew Tommy who blessed us. Just,
Right.
you know, it was such a blessing, and we were able to do so much between Thanksgiving and Christmas this year.
Wow.
You know, so that was
Especially COVID.
yeah. And I
You know?
remember Christmas, like I couldn't sleep. I had anxiety because I couldn't wait to open up my gift. And some kids ain't got no food, so they don't got nothing to look forward to.
Right.
So I said, we got to change that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. The vision that you had to make a difference in the community, when you first had this vision and you were thinking about this and you put this together, have you seen it come through?
Yeah, it's really been growing. It was overwhelming at first, but I had to remind myself. I heard Will Smith say this. He said his dad told him, "You build a house one brick at a time."
Yeah.
So we think the mansion, but
Right.
but right now we're sitting in rubble. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So each year has grown, and I just said I want to make sure my heart is sincere, and that I'm just putting my best foot forward. And every time I feel like God breathes on it, and it just grows.
Right,
Um,
right.
So, I mean, it's just a blessing because I still like to get gifts on Christmas night. I'm a grown man. Mama, you better get me something.
I love that.
You know
I
what I'm
love
saying?
that.
So to be able to help the kids.
Yeah.
And I get more joy out of blessing them. Like this year, I had my daughter. Whoa, Daddy, this is nice. And I was like, man, it felt good
Yeah.
to bless her and to make her, feel good. Then I started teaching her about the importance of giving. So I'm trying to work that in
Right.
to a 3-year-old's brain. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. What I loved about the event that you had about fatherhood, you really expressed, as well as the other panelists, expressed the fact of what it really means to be a father.
yeah,
How important it is once you have a child. And so many men think about the fact that they're paying child support, and they're angry about the support.
yeah,
They're angry about not, what has happened with the mother of the child, let's say it like that,
Yeah.
right? When in fact it's the child.
yeah.
And I think we take our minds off of that. Let's talk about that. As a father, what fatherhood really, truly is.
Man, fatherhood is everything.
Yeah.
Fatherhood is like the ultimate step your game up, slap in the face. Like, you tired? You somebody daddy. You know, like, even like, hey, don't cut me off in traffic. I'm somebody daddy. Like, you know what I'm saying? You just feel like my chest out. Like,
Right.
I'm somebody daddy. First time I heard Brinley, my oldest daughter, say, I was coming to pick her up and she was at the screen door, Daddy, Daddy. I was like, oh my God.
Yes.
Like, who taught her that? Like, how does she, like, it's just a blessing to my youngest daughter. They both got my eyes. She just looks at me and she smiles. It just feels so good. It makes me feel like I can do anything. And I'm fearless about trying to do whatever it
Right.
takes. But it goes past that emotional high. Now it's time to do the work. Now, even though when you're tired, if your clock's set for 5:30, get up at 5:30. You know what I'm saying? Get your reading done. Get your personal development done. Get your discipline in line. Get your health in line. You know, grow
Because
in
it's
your
no
patience.
longer you by yourself.
Oh, no.
It's no longer you take care of yourself. You're responsible for someone else.
And I also encourage guys to get past this weekend daddy stuff. That is offensive to me. That's why I'm fighting so earnestly in the courts now. I'm not no weekend dad.
And that you babysit your children.
Yeah.
How do you
yeah.
babysit your own children?
Listen, I want to experience in the middle of the night not feeling like getting up. I want to experience getting up, taking them to school. I want to experience every aspect of what a father is. That's why I'm big on co-parenting, the therapy aspect and the accountability aspect, so that they come together. Because God is not the author of confusion, but He's the minister of reconciliation. So let's reconcile, let's grow, and let's keep the main thing the main thing.
Right.
The kid. What is in the best interest of the kid? You know, so God gives the responsibility to a man to be priest, provider, and protector. Protector. This is what a lot of men got to grow in. Protecting ain't just, oh, my daughter about to go on a date, I got my shotgun ready. Bro, you ain't got to have no shotgun. What you can do is from the day she's born to the day she starts dating is give her authentic and pure love. And you can respect her mother, your wife,
Right.
everything, and show her how to treat a woman on a consistent basis. So that will be her only guide to it. So she won't think that dysfunctional stuff is functional. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She'll never normalize dysfunction because she'll see it. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Functioning
my-
in dysfunction.
And that's what I see all the time working in
Functioning
education.
and dysfunction.
Or doing therapy with kids at group homes and
Yeah.
stuff like that. You see they have normalized
That's
dysfunction.
it. They've normalized it.
Mm-hmm.
And when they find out the function of it and is no longer dysfunctional, you know, families, they don't know how to exist.
Yeah.
They don't have any clue.
Yeah.
It's always chaos.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know?
And a lot of times, they self-sabotage in relationships.
Right.
Something called a pain avoidance mechanism.
Mm.
So a lot of men do it when they don't want to be emotional and vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm growing and learning how to do is be emotionally naked.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in a relationship, I love you. I'm trying to grow with you, but I can't be shut off emotionally.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
gotta be, and I can't father and parent correctly if I'm shut off emotionally. So we have to get rid of these pain avoidance mechanisms that stop us from opening up and growing. Because if you don't open up, you can't grow. So people who have learned how to normalize dysfunction have pain avoidance mechanisms, and they self-sabotage in good relationships. So you're so used to somebody being dysfunctional and things being bad and
Chaos.
rah-rah and chaotic that when something is too good, oh, you lying.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't no way you where you say you at.
You cheating.
Hey, yeah, like I remember I was dating a woman years ago. I would leave my phone in the car when I go play basketball. I'll come back 3 hours later. Well, you can stay with her then. I'm looking at it like, who are you talking about? I was like, man, that stressed me out. I don't want to deal with that. Bye.
Exactly.
Like, yeah. So
I think it's looking, and I'm glad you said that about relationships and things like that. As far as cheating, chaos, jealousy, you know, just all kind of stuff. Instead of going into the relationship, hearing, listening, seeing, and understanding someone else.
yeah.
It's a different person.
Well, it's
But
hard to
then-
do that when you ain't never seen it.
Now that's the truth. That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's really it. That's really it. And what we do, the importance, we were just talking about the importance of manhood and fatherhood and just kind of experiences and things like that. As we're going into Father's Day, many men, uncles, you know, cousins, or whoever has stepped in to be the father, many times.
Yeah.
It's not the father over that child, but they've stepped into that role.
Yeah.
What have you seen? Because I know you've seen a lot of that.
Ooh, I used to be, because my dad was absent at a
Right.
point in my life, I used to get mad and think that every man that wasn't present was starved. And then I learned more about how the system works. And I learned that that's not always the case. But I am so urgent with telling the guys, I don't care how you feel about the mother. I don't care what the situation is. You make it your business to spend time with your child. And we have to get more men that have some resilience. There's fight, there's flight, and there's flee. We got too many men that's fleeing. Now, sometimes it's so emotionally draining, and that's one thing we don't talk about enough, the emotional pull and drain of somebody tugging with your, it ain't like they owe you $50. Ain't like they just took your bike. No, this is your child. And it's being handled very callously. But I need men to grow in their emotional intelligence and don't let anything stop you from being around your child. You need to get extremely diligent. Like, you got to want it as bad as you want to breathe. And I would tell those men that are in place helping out, treat the child like this your child. Because the child just, all they want is love. Kids spell love T-I-M-E. You know what I'm saying? And hold your brothers and your cousins and your friends accountable. I don't want to see no dude at the club turning up that, you know, you pay for your kids because you just spit $500 on a bottle. Like, what you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And also I want them to know that love goes beyond buying things. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, I wouldn't have turned down a gift from my dad, but ultimately, take a walk with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, as a kid I mentor, I was just talking to him yesterday. I said, you got a little brother, right? And you know, the relationship with your dad ain't the best. When you go play basketball, when you go play football, take him with you. Ask him about his day. See what he's struggling with. See if he's getting bullied. We got to start talking to our kids. And I would tell anybody, especially the fathers, talk with the kids. Find out what's going on in their head. Find out how they feel. You think because you buying them gifts, you got a nice house, You give them everything that you wanted when you was little, that you think you're a good parent, but you're parenting through your trauma. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Find out what are their interests. You know, what are their needs? What are their desires? What do they like? How do they feel? You know? But that requires a different level of integrity and discipline and obedience and patience from us. So it always circles back, the boomerang always come back to us. But those are the things that I would really tell them. Start talking to your kids and holding your other brothers accountable.
Sounds good. We'll take a break and we'll be right back on the Cam Hill Show.
To the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
Move up at Ron Carter Cadillac. Drive the new 2021 Cadillac XT4 Luxury Collection for only $319 a month. The new 2021 Cadillac XT5 Luxury Collection for only $399 a month. Both for 39 months lease with just $1 down. Or purchase either and enjoy 1.9% APR for 60 months plus bonus cash. Gulf Freeway just 2 minutes south of the Beltway.
Shop smarter when you shop Ron Carter. Ron Carter, Cadillac.com.
My prenatal promise is to make sure my baby is safe and healthy. Because I know it is possible to acquire syphilis, HIV, or other STDs without knowing it. Getting tested is my very first chance to protect my baby. Doctors are required to give expectant mothers 3 separate tests for syphilis. If you're pregnant, ask your doctor if you're being tested properly for syphilis and other STDs. Congenital syphilis can lead to a miscarriage, stillbirth, or an infant death. Don't risk your baby's health. To find out more, visit myprenatalpromise.com.
Have you heard about Hero Go TV offering free TV?
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey family, we are back with Mr. Bryan Carroll. We were just talking a minute ago, Brian, and we were just, some ladies had sent in some questions, and they were just wanting to know what is some advice for them. I was successful, but it says, why are so many people single?
I don't think.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think the culture in our society cultivates relationships. And then I think it's 7-1 men and women in America. So, I mean, there's a disparity there. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got their emotional needs, their physical needs or desires, and the companionship desires and needs and stuff like that. So you put that in there. You got a lot of fatherlessness. You got a lot of families. People are coming from broken homes. So it's a mess. We've learned to function in dysfunction.
Right.
Then you got all these relationship people who
Gurus,
ain't married.
These gurus.
They either not married or they married and doing their thing.
Right.
You know, so we like to pick and choose. You know, people like to say when somebody give them the hard truth that they judging instead of like, you know, you really evaluating. But I would honestly say that men and women haven't learned how to listen to each other. We've also lived in an age where there's so much connectivity.
Right.
There was a time where you was dating that person. I ain't saying that people didn't cheat back in the day or people didn't do inappropriate things, but it was different in the sense where you get into a marriage, the culture was like you marry that person. Now, and I'm not saying that anybody's got a divorce is wrong, because there are cases where that was warranted. But now it's like you in a relationship, you got somebody that care about you, but now you got somebody DMing you telling you everything you want to hear. Or you post a picture and you getting all this affirmation. You know what I'm saying? So them endorphin drops is going. So you starting to think, I ain't got to take this. You know, and I ain't saying the person dragging you through the mud, but now we haven't developed any stamina
Right.
to work through relationships. There is absolutely no stamina. But that's because we live in a culture that does not cultivate it. And you got people that think because I've dated women before because of the fatherlessness or just because of the cultural tone, they think that how much money you spend on them or where you take them. So I don't value you because I didn't take you to Del Frisco's or Eddie V's or the new place 13. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know if I like you enough to spend $100 on a date. Can we go to Chili's and sit down? Can we go to Cheddar's or something?
Right.
Like, and it's not that I don't value you because I say let's go to Cheddar's because I honestly think those croissants be hitting.
Me too.
But it's like, let's just sit down, have a meal, and talk and see if we know each other. Like that we are blending beyond that, beyond, the initial attraction.
Right.
It's like, I don't think relationships have to be so transactional financially. I think they should be transactional as far as mentally and emotionally what we're extracting and getting from each other.
Right.
And like we're heading the wrong way. We always want to head left trying to get right with relationships. That's what I think. And also, something we kind of talked about, I think we attribute academic, social, and career success with being a good choice for a mate. And that has nothing to do with your ability to be patient, to be kind, to love. Because I know some people are very mature in their career, but they out of control in their relationships. You know what I'm saying? And just because you got a master's and a good job and you're a homeowner and you got properties and all that, that has nothing to do with your ability and your stamina when it comes to a relationship. Wow. So establish those core values, see if those core values align, communicate at a high level, and, see how it works out.
Wow. There's a thing called submissive.
Oh, let's talk about that. Let's talk
about submissive. And from a man's point of view, submissive. Let's discuss that. And I know many did not read the word.
Yeah.
Of what it is. What's your thoughts on
Whether they want to
submissive?
believe it, you submissive to something.
Yeah.
You submissive to fashion. You submissive to the culture's tone on what you should drive, how you should dress, how you should wear your hair. You submissive to something. What people always leave out is that God said the man must be submissive to him.
Yes.
So that's God, man, woman. If I'm submissive to God, then my character is intact. So submissiveness isn't me telling you jump how high. No, it's understanding the hierarchy in leadership. That's why God said, husbands, love your wives. Wives, respect your husbands. Why? Because of the way a man is, the way he's built, he's going to need you to respect the institution of leadership. Whereas if we're a little more logical, not always the case, but if we're more logical and you're more emotional, I'm going to love you. You know what I'm saying? And be more patient because actually I'm being required to be engaged in something that I'm not naturally like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this is all men or all women. There are exceptions.
We're saying that, yeah.
There are exceptions. But, so submissiveness is like, it's like you got a great coach. When you got a great coach, there's no enmity in the locker room. The team willing to run through a wall for him. And when you're submissive, ultimately goes back to the guy. The change I want to see must first begin in me.
Right.
Let me be responsible. Let me be a man of my word. Let me be patient. Let me love on you. Let me serve you. Let me show you that you can trust me with your emotions, with your feelings in every way. And that, when I walk in humility when I make a mistake and we grow together. Now it's easy for you to submit to that because you can't wait. Because the truth be told, the reason why anytime you do events and all that stuff, women love to support and serve. They way better supporters than men. I don't care what nobody says.
Yeah.
Women support way better than men.
They do.
Why? Because they naturally desire.
Right.
God placed that in them to
They
want
did.
to serve.
Yeah.
So really, they'll jump behind you if you got something good. And if she won't, y'all need to go to therapy or you need to run because she's going to stress you out.
Absolutely. Let's talk about this part. Many women that as you get older, after you've had your children, you're no longer what you used to be. Your body is not as it was before, right? So many of them body shame themselves, unfortunately. But we see them, right?
Yeah.
You see them. When you go up to someone, you see how she looks.
Yeah.
When you give her your number, you actually see her. But in her mind, she remembers, maybe a long time ago, I used to be this, but he wouldn't want to be with me now because of my weight, my look, my this.
Yeah.
Let's talk to them about that.
I would say, we live in a society where the lens of beauty comes from the Western European lens.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, black women will never amount to that. I think a woman is beautiful, light skin, dark skin, short, tall, natural, weave, whatever works for you. But we gotta understand this. People would say, I'm going natural. How do you go what you naturally are?
Yeah.
But we've been taught, it's been inundated into the fabric of our society that you're not beautiful how you naturally are. So you got to do all this. You got to lighten home. You don't want to be the sun. You don't want to get too dark. No, you beautiful. As black as you is, as big as your nose is, as big as your head is. Why does naughty or beady hair have to be something bad? That's how God made us. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So let's embrace that. You feel me? So we have to start seeing ourselves for the beautiful creation that we are. And men, we have to love that.
We gotta love
because
it.
we can't sit up there as men, because women want to please men and men want to please women. So we can't be so pleased with these European beauty standards and then tell a woman you're not being real. She wants to attract you.
Right.
And you're not attracted to what she naturally is because you've been brainwashed into believing something aside from that.
And if they want to wear it, if they want to do it, if they want to do this or do that, but after women have 3 and 4 children, they're not going to be the same.
And I think a woman, you should do whatever you feel comfortable with.
Right.
And you're beautiful no matter what. And at the end of the day, I don't want no perfect, I don't mind no stretch marks.
There you go.
I want you to be ashy when you get out the shower so I can serve you and put some lotion on. You know what I'm saying? I like the fact of where's the beauty without the scars?
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Like
That's
everything ain't gonna be perfect. That don't mean you don't need to get on the treadmill. You know what I mean? You need to go work out.
But as you get older.
You're gonna gain weight. Things are gonna happen. It's a
Gravity is
progression.
gonna set in.
Gravity is gonna set in. But that's why we gotta start loving each other.